Our next presentation is from the country manager of Microsoft. Now, let me just do a quick survey. How many people, parents or guardians, have heard of Roblox? Just raise up your hand. Roblox. Okay, now if you haven't, you will very soon. If you have any child between the ages of 5 to maybe 10, 11, it has really caught on with them. And I didn't know about this. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she showed me Roblox, and it's like a metaverse, and she's an architect, and she's building clubs, and she's buying money, and everything rests on technology. Now, I might not be a Roblox fan, I might not know anything, but I think it's only right to get some wisdom and knowledge and understanding of this new world that our young ones are being part of. And that's why the next presentation is very key, not only in the world of banking, but generally. And we're so glad to have our country manager with us to talk about blockchain technology and impact on digital transformation. Our presenter is currently the country manager of Microsoft Nigeria and Ghana, responsible for driving Microsoft strategy in both countries. Prior to that, she was the digital transformation and cloud solutions director for the Microsoft Middle East and Africa as MEA, and of course, multi-country cluster MCC, spanning over 67 countries in Africa and part of Middle East. She's been doing this for over 22 years and counting. Ladies and gentlemen, please do make welcome our country manager, Microsoft Nigeria and Ghana, Ola Williams.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
Just point the clicker to the back, and you have 15 minutes.
Back?
Yeah, the back over there.
Oh, back here. Okay. All right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited to talk about blockchain technology and how that is transforming organization, especially coming from especially after the two previous speakers had set the foundation. We all know what digital transformation is right now and how it's impacting us. As he said, my name is Ola Williams. I love to see a room filled with people that are enthusiastic about technology because it touches every aspect of our lives. I don't think there is anyone here that is not using one form of technology or the other. And by the way, some of us are already using blockchain somehow, but at the back end, and we're not aware of it. In the next 15 minutes, I really just want to take us through a blockchain technology quickly. But before I dive into how it's impacting organization, I want to describe what blockchain is. It was originally developed for international payment, and is a secure digital distributed ledger that uses private or public technology to validate and record transactions in real time. And that word real time is what makes the difference, because we record transactions, we apply security of one form or the other, but real time is what makes blockchain really different. And if you look at this data, it's dated actually. Is just to show us that blockchain had been generating interest for a very long time. This slide was prepared by the World Economic Forum, and it shows us how different entities and organizations are looking at blockchain. But I want to put our attention, I want to call our attention to, sorry. No, previous slide, actually. Thank you. So the 80% of banks are meant to use one form of blockchain or the other by 2017, or whether you are in fintech or banking or organization. That means any bank or organization that is not considering using blockchain technology today is actually somewhat obsolete. That's the light way to put it. And there are so many use cases that I'm going to be discussing this morning. But before we go into that, I want us to look at how blockchain helps to establish different processes. One, data is stored in a ledger or digital ledger by recording transactions. But the most important thing is that everyone within the network has an individual identical copy. So it's very difficult for anyone to manipulate. Theoretically, is challenging, and that's why blockchain has proven to be technology that can be used for, intra-organization or extra-organization transaction, especially when trust is involved. This does not mean that people mistrust one another, but in order to establish real trust, then blockchain technology comes to play. And the ledger can only be updated by network consensus. So I, as an individual, cannot just single-handedly update my own part of the record without the consensus of the entire parties within that blockchain technology. And why is this important? It's important because when we look at the different types of blockchain network, one is what we call public. And this is one of the significant use cases. Public blockchain network consists of multiple parties that does not know one another, but they have common interest either in transaction or keeping record or exchanging information, and they all agree to participate within a particular blockchain, and all participants can read and write into that. And private is the type that where every party is known, but of course there is trust, there is need to transfer information within trust boundaries, and the thing is that all those things has to be by consensus, but that consensus is done by algorithm. And the difference between private and consortium is the fact that these are also known organizations, but it's not a single organization, multiple organizations that are transacting on the same blockchain and also by consensus. And read and write is restricted. So how do you know whether you need a blockchain? You need to answer these questions. One is, do you have business process across boundaries? It could even be within the same organization, but so far there are processes transacting a trust organization or the other, then that might be a use case for blockchain. Or do you have multiple parties manipulating the same document or input into the same document, especially documents that are relevant either for contracting, for your executing of processes? That is also a use case to consider. And are there many interboundaries control of single source of information or document? We've heard from the previous speakers how fintechs and banks and e-commerce organizations are all interacting together. Blockchain can help to reduce the amount of time taken to validate or verify information across those boundaries. And in case you also have processes that are repetitive and slow, and in pass-on processes, that is also a use case for blockchain. So I've mentioned different areas that blockchain is useful when addressing enterprise need. But I did mention earlier on that blockchain was not originally designed for enterprise. So of course that means that there are constraints. Constraint one from ability to scale quickly, security, governance, applying governance, and also in terms of the database structure, because you can't just be writing into a blockchain just the same way you're writing into a database. It wasn't originally designed to that. So how do we solve for that? One of the ways that we have solved for that is to work with a consortium of partners. At Microsoft, we have a lot of customers and partners that are building blockchain applications on our platform that are ready for use in different use cases today that I'll also be talking about. There are also potential benefits of blockchain to customers. One is it helps to eliminate intermediaries. So for example, I need to validate a transaction. I want to do it with a clearinghouse. That's, yes, is a use case, but what it does is it helps to speed up the ability to get that information across the clearinghouse. Then it helps to reduce fraud related to data integrity because all the parties are having the same copy, and increase efficiency and speed. I'm going to talk more about that in the example. And of course, help to reduce counterpart risk. And also in the use case for showing regulators how you're doing your transaction without necessarily providing all the underlying data. And it helps to increase revenue and reduce costs. How does it help to increase revenue? There are different use cases, especially for FSI industry, that today we don't think about previously. Cases like, I have probably a manufacturing customer that collects money from distributors. First of all, they have to come to the bank, take the teller to validate that and come back. But all of this can be done real time today and in a secured manner. So blockchain helps to increase operational efficiency, helps to meet regulatory requirements, counter risk, clearing settlement, time reduction, liquidity and capital improvement, because you can save a lot of cost on processes based on reduced time, and also help to reduce fraud. So I want to give an example of a bank, Bank of America. If you look up on the screen, you will see multiple loops of interaction. And this means that this transaction process used to take up to 3 to 5 weeks. But after deploying blockchain technology, they were able to reduce that to 3 days. But the good news is that Zenith Bank is not only just talking about technology. They're also walking the talk, so we're in discussion with Zenith Bank on different use cases for this. So watch this space for more information on that and how we are partnering to ensure that we're bringing more value to customers, either B2B or B2C in different scenarios. So most common blockchain use cases is 1, trade and finance, global payments, know your customer, because it can help you to validate information. Let's say, for example, I am a customer, I register with a particular loyalty program, and that organization that I register with have a partnership with Zenith Bank. My information can be easily validated across both organizations. And also helps with asset transfer. So quicker asset transfer without going through the rudiment of carrying bulky information across the internet. There are retinues of financial use cases. I know my time is up. I won't be able to drill more into that. There are use cases around POS for security of POS, transferring of values from one entity to another. And if you also look at payments, there is use cases for that as well, and so on and so forth. I've discussed this earlier on, so I won't dwell into that to save time. So I want to leave you with something. Organization needs to consider the use of blockchain, and it's not necessarily have to be a very big organization. So far you are interacting with companies and you are exchanging information, and it has to be done in real time, because today most people are impatient. They don't want to wait for 3 weeks before getting answer to their question. They want real-time insight, they want real-time response. Then you need to consider use case, blockchain. And Microsoft is committed to giving you blockchain on your terms. So and you can integrate with your application, with the partnership that we have that I mentioned earlier on, and we can integrate it with your business, and of course, then looking at different use cases that I've shared earlier on, and with the enterprise assurance that we put behind it with the partners, and of course, we'll continue to invest in looking at ways to bring in other partners on board that will help to ensure that we are covering all the use cases. Because our mission is to empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. So we always ensure that we are driving inclusiveness in our technology. And this is also being seen in how we're delivering on the blockchain technology, working with our partners to all our customers across board. So as I said earlier on, whether you are fintech or you are an organization, blockchain is actually a technology for everyone. So far you have any of the relevant use cases that I mentioned earlier on. Thank you for your time, and really a great pleasure to be here and talk to you about blockchain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we please celebrate Ola Williams for our insightful presentation?